गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 श्री राधा राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री 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 राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय
श्री
जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय
ओ गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
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 राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
श्री राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल 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 जय जय
मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। आश्लिष्यवा पादरतां पिनष्टुमा मदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु सैव नापरः चेतो दर्पणमार्जनम् भवमहा Davagnirvapanam Shreya Kairavachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadhanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Namah Kamalnabhaya Namah Kamaline Namah Kamalpadaya Namaste Kamalekshana Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagmangha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukchurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. The Divine Souls. Today, as we have been all weekend, we're celebrating Holi. Holi, the way we celebrate it, is a very beautiful illustration of the concepts of Raga Nuga Bhakti. There are two main ways of practicing devotion to Radha Krishna. One is called Vaidhi Bhakti, and one is called Raga Nuga Bhakti. In the Vedas, there are 64 types of rules that have to be followed if you're going to do Vedic Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi means according to the Vidhi and Nishedh of the Vedas. What can you do? What can you not do? How should you sit? What time of day to worship? How to respect God? How to worship God? 64 types of rules. There's some echo on. 64 types of rules which are even more difficult to follow during Kali Yuga. In Raga Nuga Bhakti, there are some guidelines, of course, certain things like we're taught not to ask God for worldly things, but to surrender to God. We are taught that we should practice devotion every day. We are taught that we should remember God throughout the day. There are these types of rules in Raganuga Bhakti as well, but the whole list of do's and don'ts that we find in Vaidhi Bhakti is not there in Raganuga Bhakti. In Raganuga Bhakti, we are more concerned about, is our mind in God? Is my love for Radha Krishna growing? That's what matters. In Raganuga Bhakti, if it suits you to do devotion at 4 p.m. instead of 4 a.m., then do it at 4 p.m. if that's when it's easier for you to attach your mind to Radha Krishna. In Raganuga Bhakti, if it suits you to, in your meditation, give Radha Krishna a bath and dress them, instead of keeping a murti that you bathe and dress properly. In Raganuga Bhakti, you can do that. In Vaidhi Bhakti, no, these are the steps you have to follow in your devotion. Here at Radha Madhav Dham, we follow the path of Raganuga Bhakti as expounded by Shree Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ji and as by further simplified and made practical by Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj. One of the tenets of Raganuga Bhakti is not to think of God as God, because on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, we're supposed to love God. How will you love God, though? God is so great, awe-inspiring, even fear-inspiring. Just think of Arjun when he had the divine vision of Shri Krishna on the battlefield, seeing Krishna's divine almighty glory. Arjun was trembling. Even the great Arjun, Disho na jane na labhe cha sharma prasid devesh jagannivas. He said, "Oh Krishna, please, I feel completely disoriented. I don't know which way is up and which way is down, which way is left, which way is right. I'm trembling before you, seeing you like this. In fact, I prefer seeing you as my friend, as you were before. Please take that form again." Even Arjuna couldn't feel related to Krishna. He just felt in awe of him. That is a part of Vaidhi Bhakti for sure. But on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, we try to remove all that feeling of distance that we have with God, any hesitation we have. Let's say there's a small boy or girl playing outside and they're a little bit dusty or dirty, they're playing outside in the yard, and their father comes home and he's wearing a suit, came home from work, and the child sees their father and just runs and jumps into his arms. Does the child think, my father is the CEO of that international company, he's wearing his suit, and I don't have the right, or I should be more formal? No, he's my father. He just runs and jumps into the arms of his father. And the father also doesn't scold the child. The father is also captivated by that apanapan that the child has, the feeling the child has over the father, that you are mine. You may be the CEO of some big country, you may be a billionaire, I don't care, you're my father. That's for other people to worry about. He just jumps into his father's arms, so the father also reciprocates. Oh, my child. It doesn't matter about his suit, doesn't matter about his status. In Raganuga Bhakti, we take Krishna's status away from him. He's Purnatam Purushottam Brahm. He is the origin of all forms of God. He is the abode of all divine powers. We remove that status. We say, no, you're my Krishna. That's it. And that's what Holi is all about. Make Krishna your own. You would feel a lot of hesitation if Krishna were taking his form as supreme God like he showed to Arjuna. Would you feel like going and playing Holi with him? No. But in his friendly form, his loving form as Krishna, then even though he's still God, we just forget about him being God. He's my father. He's my friend. He's my own son. He's my divine beloved. And then we just play Holi. And in that Holi, we abandon all sense of hesitation or formality that we have with Shri Krishna. We abandon it completely. And we just play Holi the way we would play with each other. Like yesterday, we were playing water balloons, just throwing the balloons around, dumping water on each other. Nobody cared for who's older, who's younger, who's wearing orange. That's how we have to be with Krishna, and Holi is a very easy Leela for us to visualize that. Other days we may feel more hesitation, or we have to keep reminding ourselves, no, I don't have to think of Krishna as God. I should think of him as my own. But on Holi, we just, I'm going to be like a Gwalbal today. I'm going to be like a Gopi today. And in my Roop Dhyan, I'm going to play Holi with Krishna. I'm going to surprise him and dump a bucket of color on his head. And he's going to rub color in my face. This is the meaning of Holi for those following the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti. It's very simple. In this world, even those who are closest to us right now don't remain our own forever. But Krishna has been ours since eternity, since the beginning which never had a beginning. Because we have always existed, and Krishna has always been right here with us, inside our heart, inside our soul, giving life to us. Our eternal companion, accompanying us in every life, no matter where we were born, in what Brahmand, in what species, in what family, he was always with us. It means that he is the only one, Radha Krishna are the only ones who are truly ours, who have been ours forever, who are ours now, they're closer to us now than anybody, and who will remain ours after this life as well. Keeping that in our heart and adopting the style of Raga Nuga Bhakti, of thinking of them with one of the four bhav, either I'm his servant, or I'm his friend, or I'm his parent, or I'm his beloved. Adopting one of these four relational sentiments with Shri Krishna, we play Holi with him. And one day, when our devotion is complete, we'll get to play Holi face to face with Radha and Krishna, and for now we do it in our meditation. We do it in our Roop Dhyan. This, as it concerns the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti, is the meaning of Holi. The holy powder, the holy color, represents Radha Krishna's love for us. And our love for them is the color we're throwing on them. And the pichikari, which is a container to put that color in, that pichikari, or that, it's a divine water gun, you can say. The pichikari is our heart. It's our antahakaran. So Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj says, clean your heart. and bring Radha Krishna's love into it and then throw that love on them. This is the symbolic meaning of that color of Holi. And when you play Holi with Radha Krishna, you will feel the color of that their holy powder or that color they throw on you literally is their divine love which soaks you through. So this very briefly is the meaning of Holi for those who are following the path of Raganuga Bhakti. And as announced, I'll now take a few more questions that relate to this path of Raganuga Bhakti that we've received from our YouTube viewers. Some of these have been pending for a few weeks because I've been away. So let me go through as many as I can in the next few minutes. One of them is related to humbleness. The person sent a message saying that we're supposed to feel close to Krishna and we're supposed to remember him all the time. But he says, I feel such a guilt. Let's say I go through a phase in my life where all the people in my life are very important to me and I forget all about Krishna. Or for a whole day, I don't think of him even once. So then I feel very badly about this, and I feel, how can I face him the next day? Or how can I think of him? I feel so guilty, I feel that I'm unworthy. These are the general sentiments expressed by this person. So again, we have to think about the fundamentals of Raganuga Bhakti. If a child makes a mistake, even if that child is scolded, a young child, the child does something wrong, he knows it's wrong or she knows it's wrong, and the mother even scolds the child. And now the child is feeling upset. Oh, I did something bad. You feel bad when you do something bad. You feel guilty, you feel upset. So where will the child go for comfort? To their mother who just scolded them? Why? Appanapan. That feeling of ownness. This is my mother. Where else am I going to go for comfort? That's the feeling we have to bring into our devotion with Radha Krishna as well. That insecurity or feeling, I'm not good enough, I've made so many mistakes, why would Radha Krishna love me? I'm not good enough for their love. So others are worthy, I'm not worthy. We would call that a feeling of inferiority. This feeling of inferiority is actually the enemy of devotion. It prevents you from doing devotion to Radha Krishna. So give yourself permission to ban that feeling of inferiority. You should have confidence. Radha Krishna are mine. It doesn't matter how many mistakes I've made. It doesn't matter how many times I've gone the wrong direction. They are mine. That's very important because if you don't go to them, where will you go? You'll go to the world. You'll go somewhere. Therefore, just remember the feeling of inferiority, the feeling of insecurity when it comes to the love of Radha Krishna, that can be left aside. Give yourself permission not to feel that. You're feeling like, oh, I've been a bad devotee. I've made so many mistakes. Okay. Admit it, acknowledge it, and move on. Radha Krishna are still waiting for you with open arms. This is a very important part of Raganuga Bhakti. The next question I want to answer is sent in by somebody who's wondering if they feel like they're receiving some kind of inspiration from inside, inspiration to take a particular action. How to know if this is actually a message from Krishna? Should I be acting on it or should I ignore it? Kindly guide. This is actually an important thing to understand. It comes in the same category as dreams, actually. People want to ascribe a certain meaning to dreams. I had this dream, what does it mean? I mean, there are volumes and volumes of books written for dream analysis. Psychologists get paid to analyze your dreams. And Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj, the supreme authority in the world on scriptural, spiritual matters, he says analyzing dreams is total bakwas. Utter and complete bakwas, total nonsense. Your dreams are just distorted expressions from the subconscious mind. Whatever you're worried about, whatever you fear, whatever you're attached to, whatever you thought about the most during the day, that's what you're going to dream about. And of course, your mind is going to come up with all kinds of fantastic and surprising ways to express those feelings in your dreams. But Shree Kripaluji Maharaj says, don't spend even 1 second analyzing those dreams. Even if Radha Krishna appeared to you in a dream, he says that's you're not God realized. If real Radha Krishna appeared to you in a dream, then they would still be there when you wake up. Yeah, God realization is forever. So if Radha Krishna come to you, they come to you. That's it. You thought of them in a dream, that's good. It means you're getting more attached to them. That's why you dreamed about them. So you dreamed about them. Don't say they came to me in my dream, right? So as regards dreams, this is how Sri Maharaji he said, don't even spend a minute thinking about it. You know the philosophy, apply the philosophy in your life. Why are you looking for ways to find guidance in your dreams? Similarly, when you get some kind of feeling, oh, I think Krishna wants me to do this. I think Krishna wants me to do that. It's also coming from your subconscious mind. None of us has direct communication with Shri Krishna. When we do have direct communication with Shri Krishna, we'll be God realized. And then we won't even need to have a conversation with him. Whatever he's wanting us to do, we'll do it automatically. And until then, no direct communication. I mean, we need divine ears to hear what he's saying. So one shouldn't get deluded into thinking, oh yes, I'm getting messages from God, and that's why I did this, and that's why I should do that. No. Understand the philosophy or get direct instructions from your guru and then apply that in your life and follow that. And then don't worry about what kind of inner guidance you think you're getting. Use your intellect. Maharaji says, use your intellect to understand how to apply the philosophy. Of course, we don't want to use our intellect to keep questioning and doubting, but use the intellect to apply the philosophy sensibly in our life. We have a question here. Do we have the mic?
On a similar note to what you were saying, on discernment of intention, of our own intention, do we need to not worry about that and just trust our intentions and trust positive intent even in times when we question? That might be a deep question.
Well, intention is very different than getting some inner feeling.
Okay.
Right? This person's asking, oh, I'm thinking, should I do this or should I do that? And I get a feeling, like, so is that God telling me what to do? So the answer is no. Understand your guru's instructions. Should I do this or should I do that? Which one is according to my guru's instructions?
Okay.
So reason it out intellectually.
Yeah.
Don't look for some kind of Krishna's telling me what to do.
Okay.
The next question, the next set of questions all have to do with sadhana. How to increase bhav and shed tears while offering bhog. One of the ways that we practice Raga Nuga Bhakti is by preparing some food and then placing it before Radha Krishna, placing it before Guruji and asking them to come and eat. We even have a song specially written by Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj, where we reason with Krishna and we ask him, please come and eat the food that I've prepared for you. This person wants to know how to become more sincere in actually asking Krishna to come. And as with a lot of things that relate to our feelings in devotion, on one side, we just have to practice it. And on the other side, by doing more sadhana, it will happen on its own. Both can be true at the same time. If I want to become more sincere in my offering of bhog, and I want to shed real tears when I'm asking Krishna to come and eat the food that I've prepared, then I should just do it, right? I want to be more sincere. Okay, then try to feel more sincere. I want to really cry to ask Krishna to come, then try to cry, try to feel, why am I not crying? Why, am I so proud that I'm not even willing to really ask Krishna to come? So I should try, right? That's the sadhana. But then the other side is also true, that the more sadhana I do, the more purified my heart becomes, and automatically I'll be more sincere, and automatically I'll cry real tears asking Krishna to come. In other words, the tears are also a symptom of heart purification. So when I've made more progress, I'll have more tears. So in other words, don't stress about it. Keep trying, keep offering the food, and just know that the act of doing that is practice, that is sadhana, and that will continue to purify your heart. And the more your heart purifies, the more tears you'll sincerely shed in requesting Krishna to come. You have a question?
Sorry, another one. If we have the feeling internally and we don't express it in any ways, and we stay stationary in certain cases, is that all right?
Yes, totally.
Just really pay attention?
That's a good point. Yep, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Maharajji's main point for us is that our mind and heart should be in the devotion.
Okay.
And we should be feeling that we want Krishna to come. We should be longing to meet him. But how is that? Or, you know, and if we're not, it's okay in the beginning, right? But we just know, okay, I want to find a way to bring this feeling up. And if it's not there in the beginning, just keep trying and know that it will come.
Okay.
And if it is there and nothing's being expressed outwardly, even better. Maharajji also says, Gopaniyam, Gopaniyam, Gopaniyam Prayatnataha. Love is something to be hidden. So make it as strong as possible on the inside, but also hide it on the outside. So if people look at you, they'll think, oh, this guy's not much of a devotee. He's just sitting there calm as anything. And inside, there's only Radha Krishna. So I'm just saying that there may be people like that, right? So everybody's different, everybody's physiology is different, and their feelings are easier for them to hide or more difficult for them to hide depending on their physiology. Someone may have very strong devotional feelings and not show anything on the outside. That's fine.
Thank you.
The next question also is about sadhana. What is the best sadhana routine? As I mentioned, Raga Nuga Bhakti does not have many hard and fast rules. And this, for some people, could be a bit of a deception in the beginning, that they think, oh, then there's no set way of doing devotion, or there's no routine. No, you should have a routine, definitely. Raganuga Bhakti, not having rules, means that it doesn't matter how you're dressed, it doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what direction you're facing, it doesn't matter what you physically offer. The only thing that matters is your mind is in Radha Krishna. Smartavyo satatam Vishnu, vismartavyo na jatu chit, sarve vidhini shedha, Syuretayoreva kinkara. Padma Puran. Vedavyasji says, all the do's and don'ts of the Vedas, and those 64 types of do's and don'ts that relate to how to worship God, all of those are distilled down to one do and one don't on the path of Raganuga Bhakti. Always remember Radha Krishna, that's the one do. Never forget Radha Krishna even for a second, that's the one don't. So if we're observing this one do and one don't, we don't have to worry about all the other rules. Yes, this is true. Nonetheless, we need to have some discipline in devotion, right? We're not at that level that I can say, oh, you know what, I am so good at remembering Radha Krishna that I just go the whole day and I never forget them. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, eating, talking to somebody else. Whatever I do, my mind is in them. So I don't need any more practice. What is practice? When you sit, you cease all other physical activities and you just do Rup Dhyan. You meditate on the form of Radha Krishna, and normally we do this with the chanting, with kirtan, because that helps us stay focused and it deepens our feelings. It's another way, it adds another element of connection with Radha Krishna. So I don't need that practice anymore. My mind is so much in Radha Krishna, I don't need to do this daily practice. That's a big mistake. We're all beginners, more or less, on this path. So we all need to practice daily. Thus, we need to establish some kind of daily routine. And in a routine, the way our minds work, it's normally best to have a fixed time. Although in Raganuga Bhakti, you can't say, oh, it has to be Brahma Muhurt, you have to start at 3 a.m., otherwise you won't get the benefit. There are no such rules in Raganuga Bhakti. Nonetheless, you should have a set time. I do my devotion every day at this time. I sit and I practice. Practice means I do sadhana. I do Rup Dhyan and Kirtan. That routine is really important. So what to do for that routine? Again, sometimes the options are so many and varied that a person may get lost in it. So let's make it simplified. Although any form of devotion is valid if you're doing Rup Dhyan, right? If your mind is in Radha Krishna, any form of devotion is valid. Puja, Path, anything. Shree Maharaj never said any type of devotion is wrong. Doing jap, doing any type of devotion, as long as you're doing Rup Dhyan with it, it's correct. However, if we give ourselves too many options, we end up getting paralysis by analysis. Or we just think like, should I do this? Should I do that? And we end up not doing anything. So let's go to what is going to give us the most benefit. As I mentioned in my lecture yesterday, Krite adhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makhai dvapare paricharyayam kalau tadhari kirtanat. In the Bhagavatam, Shukdev Ji says that in other ages there are other recommended practices. But in Kali Yuga, the only highest recommended practice to enhance your Rup Dhyan is Kirtan. Chanting the names of God is the highest recommended practice in Kali Yuga. So this is what we should practice as a routine. The best routine would be if you can sit for some time every day, ceasing all other activities. Close your eyes, picture Radha Krishna. You can play Holi with them every day if you want. You don't have to only do it one day a year or one weekend a year. You can imagine any Leela anytime you want. So you do your Rup Dhyan with Radha Krishna, and along with that, listen to Kirtan from your phone or a CD or something, or chant Kirtan. If you're alone, you can still chant Kirtan just with your voice or with a harmonium or dholak. Or maybe you do group devotions with your family, your friends, or here at the ashram. This is the core practice of sadhana. If somebody wants to know what is the daily routine of sadhana, the core practice is sitting, doing Rup Dhyan, and having the Kirtan to accompany. Then you can add, okay, you want to also do Arti. You can do Arti. While doing Arti, you should feel that real Radha Krishna are in front of me, and I'm expressing my feelings of devotion and love to them by waving the Arti flame. You want to cook something and offer it as bhog and implore them to come and eat. You can also add this element to your devotion. You want to watch a lecture by Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj. He says, Maharaji also says, Smaran and Kirtan are main, but the third main form of devotion is Shravan. Shravan means listening to the philosophy or even reading the philosophy. So you could read Prem Ras Siddhant by Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj. You could watch one of his YouTube lectures. These are the main elements that those who follow Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj generally incorporate into some kind of daily routine. The main core thing that you can't substitute anything else for, this is the thing you have to have, sitting and doing Rup Dhyan with Kirtan. Do that for some time. If you want to add other elements, saying the prarthana like we do in the morning, doing arti, offering bhog, listening to Maharajji's lecture, these are all excellent things. In fact, listening to his lectures or reading his books daily are an important part of devotion as well. If we don't review the philosophy, then tad vismaranad bhekivat, our knowledge becomes displaced in our mind, and then we start behaving in the world without the benefit of that knowledge to guide us. So reviewing the philosophy is also a big part of devotion. But the most important thing to do every day is sit and do Rup Dhyan with Kirtan. Then add any other elements to it that you want. And set some kind of routine. Again, if we give ourselves too much freedom, you say, oh, this is Raganuga Bhakti, I'll do devotion at a different time every day if I want to, and I'll have different elements to my routine every day. There might be a handful of people in the world that would work for, and there's certainly nothing wrong with it as long as you do it every day. But the danger is that you won't do it. If you try to do devotion at a different time every day, probably you'll miss quite a few days. If you don't have certain set elements in your devotional routine, again, that's a reason to miss devotion because you're just not in that natural flow. So you can consider that. It's not a hard and fast rule, but consider that it's probably beneficial to have a set time as well as certain set elements in your devotional routine. So any questions about that before I go on to the last couple of questions? Yes?
Broader question in a sense, but are there good ways or techniques for getting more in tune with our circadian rhythm and our own internal body clock? I know I'm very reliant on like alarms and stuff like that and making sure I set things externally to be able to keep track of time.
Yeah, that's actually fine. Sri Maharajji kept clocks everywhere.
Okay. Yeah.
And everything he did was according to the clock. He ate at the same exact time every day for the same duration every day. Not like, oh, this food is tastier, I'm going to eat more. No, he ate for the same amount of minutes. And he slept at the same time and woke up at the same time. Having a regular schedule, he used to tell us that having a regular schedule is better for your health.
Okay, and on that note, are there times when it's good to break that schedule and then go back to it?
Not particularly.
Not particularly, so just maintain that?
Yeah, I mean, there are times where we do because of other things that we give priority to.
Okay, so keep that rigidity.
Like coming to Radha Madhav Dham and the meal times are different than you normally have, right? So you're going to adjust.
Okay. Thank you.
For doing sadhana, do we have to sit in front of God? Like, do you need an altar or a mandir to sit in front of? Or can we do it anywhere? And the answer is anywhere. But again, the things to consider are, do you need help with Rup Dhyan? So do you need a particular photo that you like to focus on that helps you form the image of Radha Krishna when you close your eyes? Or do you need to have some special place in your house that's dedicated for you to do devotion so that you don't do anything else there? You sit there and your mind knows, okay, when we sit here, I do devotion. Sometimes these things are helpful. So the answer is no, you don't have to be sitting in front of an image of God. And I mean, for example, with me, I'm generally staying in a different house every night. And when I wake up in the morning, I put Maharaj's Hare Ram chanting on my phone and I listen to it. Where am I? I'm in whatever room I'm in that day. I'm sitting on the carpet or I'm sitting on the bed and there's probably not a picture. And so I just do it wherever I am and that's fine. But you also have to consider that if you're staying in the same place every day, and you can create some kind of special place in your home or in your room that helps enhance your devotional feelings, then that probably would be beneficial as well. And yeah, if somebody is watching a YouTube video of Sri Maharaj Ji or something, again, it doesn't matter where you are as long as you're able to focus on that. Maharaj Ji has said many times that the name of God cannot be made impure. By chanting God's name in an impure place, you won't make God's name impure. You'll purify that impure place. And similarly, thinking of God, there's no wrong place to think of God. You'll purify the whole atmosphere by thinking of God. And the last couple of questions we will have to save for next Sunday. We have three more questions remaining, plus probably might have got some, looks like we got some new ones today. Yeah, so we have a good collection of questions for next Sunday. We'll continue with our Q&A next week. And now, keeping in our heart the meaning of Holi, as I explained, we're not playing a full color Holi today with Radha Krishna, but we do have flower petals, and we're going to be offering flower petals, or we can just imagine Radha Krishna here. What do we have? Oh, it's Paduka. Okay, so we'll offer the flower petals to Shree Maharaj's Paduka and just feel that we're playing Holi with Radha Krishna. So this is how we'll conclude today's satsang, with some kirtan, and we'll each take a turn to come up and offer the flower petals on this holy celebration. After that, we'll have Arti. Bolo Holi ke Rasiya ki.
Radhe Radhe. On behalf of Radha Madhav Dham, I welcome all of you for this holy sadhana Shiva.